Hi, everyone. Welcome to Dear Alice. Today we are talking about backsplashes. I'm talking real life backsplashes that are not slab countertops like we used to have in the 80s. Remember when tile backsplashes were a thing?
Yep. But it was just like really, really basic builder beige, weird porcelains and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, can I just throw in a shag ball really quick?
Yeah.
Not only did we have a tile backsplash in the 80s and 90s, we also had a tiled countertop.
Oh, yeah.
That tile came right on down and was the countertop. And then the countertop was surrounded in an oak edge.
Man, I'm so jealous of the people that got to clean those things.
Wait, I'm not done.
Fun.
Splinters.
And really big, wide grout lines.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Super functional.
Super grouty. Yeah.
Caught everything for you.
Guys, it's back. Tile backsplashes are back.
Okay, not tile countertops, though.
I don't know. Some of you could just get wild.
You know what? I did read an
know.
article that did clout some tile countertops.
I could see you doing it in a powder bath or something like that.
I'm Stuart Little in that kitchen. My mom requested that when we were doing her remodel because she's just like so old at heart, and she's just like, oh, I just love that look. Look at the Stuart Little kitchen. They have tiled like countertops. And there is something vintage about it. And if you're a cool person, you could get away with it. It's just not going to be the easiest to clean.
Yeah.
Functionality, I think that's why we've migrated.
Do you know what's fun about the 80s and 90s? Yeah. We didn't care about cleanliness.
No.
Nobody talked about it. They didn't sell a Lysol wipe.
It was all style points.
The only kind of wipe you could get was for babies' diapers. That was it. We didn't carry Purell in our purses.
Nope.
We were not concerned about cleanliness.
We're not ready for that pandemic.
The
80s did not prep us for that.
We were more carefree. It was fun. The big grout joints were fun.
Shinier metals.
Yes.
You just ran around. You ran around outside until the street lights came on, and that's when you had to go home. There's no cell phones. Man, I love that.
We had tetanus shots. We were good.
Yeah,
we did.
Yeah, totally.
What a time.
Well, buckle your seatbelts, guys, because we are going to be talking about the tile backsplash today. In those kitchens and beyond, we're going to share some of the things that we're doing here at ALID and share what they're doing out in the world of design. So whether you're ready for it or not, I just wanted to say it's coming. And so brace yourself.
It's really, really fun. I'm excited to share.
And then this episode came from a listener question, Melissa Parado. I wish you guys would do an episode on kitchen backsplashes. Wish come true. Point. Yep. We just built a house and I haven't done one yet because I can't decide. I don't want a slab, but what is timeless but also not dated? Love your show! !
Oh, thanks, Melissa. Well, this one's for you, girl. Yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to show you all of the different ideas that are swirling about in our design center and also what we're seeing in Shelter Mags. But let's first define what the backsplash is.
Happy to. Okay. All right. You're probably asking yourself, do I have to have a backsplash? And a backsplash is essentially an extension of your countertop. It can extend as low as a few inches off the wall or as high as the ceiling. The purpose of a kitchen backsplash is preventing water, grease, and other messes from damaging your walls, particularly behind stoves and sinks. So yes, I read, is it a code? It really isn't a code to have a backsplash, but it does protect the wall. And we love it because it's just such an expression of who the home is. It is the money shot. Whenever we're designing a kitchen and looking at that range wall, elevation, that's what you do it for. You do it for the range, you do it for that hood and that whole backsplash moment. So it is a real key indicator of what the personality of the house is.
Yeah.
And so
and let me just first start by saying when we first got this question, I was like, oh man, we're kind of teetering in this zone. All the images of all the projects we've had shot, we have only shot mostly, other than one, 99.9% are these projects that have slabs as backsplashes, which means you're going to bring that same countertop material up and you're going to clad that whole back wall above the stove and anything between the countertop and those lower counters with the same slab. So this means that slab that you're spending for, you just doubled at least more, because you're buying at least 5 or 6 slabs for the kitchens that we're doing today, which can really add up depending, on what you're doing. So I'm just showing you a few of these so you guys can get a feel for what the slab backsplash is. Oh, guys, guess what? Lean in. I got to tell you something great. we're on Spotify now.
Oh my, yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Man, I forgot again.
So those of you that love to watch us on YouTube, fantastic. You're going to see all these images. But Spotify is now sharing the videos that we make for YouTube on Spotify. So you can be driving down the road. You can have your little phone there. You can peek out the corner of your eye at a stoplight and see some of these things happening.
Safely.
I love watching a podcast on Spotify.
Oh, me too.
I don't know why I haven't gotten into the YouTube thing yet, but Spotify means I'm watching everything now, which is so fun. So tune in because we're showing you all the visuals. Okay. So again, we're just showing you a few of, the projects we've done throughout the years, just using that beautiful natural stone as backsplashes.
Yeah, it was fun to pull these images just because even as Jess has been showing them, some are more quiet than others. I will say that at the beginning of this trend of seeing the slab like really reach up and like go behind the backsplash and be other parts of the kitchen, they were a little bit more quiet. And I think that's what was available in the marketplace. We started to see like white marbles coming to Calcutta gold was a big one, and then we start to see quartzite be a thing, and then we're seeing like the white makubas. We're seeing, you see Taj Mahal, you're seeing these quartzites. And then as people are like wanting more interest, they're going to the slab for this trend. So even as you go, more current in our portfolio, you're seeing more opinionated slabs, the violas, the, just the more dramatic veining, just because you can. And people want that. And I think that individualized interior and those spaces to really express who you are, that's been such a big thing. And especially when we're talking about timeless interiors, like what is timeless personally for you? Post that the Washington Post article that like doing something basic and meant to resell was making people sad. Going just the beige and going neutral was making people sad. And this is a response to that, especially to the pandemic, to really appreciating your interiors, to be more expressive in your choices. And I think the backsplash is a huge way to add art to the room. The countertop for sure is like what we start with. Honestly, we pick out our slab and then that can kind of cater what paint color we are and just the whole mood of that kitchen. So anyway, I still think the slab backsplash, the reason why it's great is because it's easy to clean. I mean, you obviously get a massive movement. You have a monolith in your kitchen that's really expressive, especially in the grid of cabinetry and things happening in a kitchen. So to have like big veined moments, I think is still beautiful. And I'm really, really excited that not only is the more interesting like veining popular, but also colors, like colored marbles are a huge trend right now. So if you wanted to take, and they mentioned this rosa, we have it in a couple of our marble accessories, but what is it called?
The obelisks.
The obelisks.
This is, for those of you who aren't watching, this is what we call oxblood. It's like a really deep, dark maroon in color. And then the veining in it is white. And it's called rosa, the marble is. Yeah. This is being used as kitchen countertops. So what Susan's saying is the countertops now are becoming even more opinionated. We're not just using those white field marbles anymore. We're using colored marbles as the countertops. And then that's your jumping off point to then either do that and then take like a similar color in tile and start to make your rhythms
with this. So sick.
Beautiful.
Which is, like Sue said, really individualized, very personal, really interesting. I have to say, when people first did the marble slab as the backsplash, do you remember the impact it had? Because you hadn't seen it before. Yeah. So the wow factor was there. We're so used to seeing that now, our eyes are, that it's kind of lost its punch. And now the tile is giving you that wow factor, and the rhythm and the glossiness or the pooling of the glazes, that's the new wow factor.
Yeah. And the saturation.
Yes, the amount of color. Sue, how do you unwind at home?
The second I get home, I light a candle and I change into my like buttery soft loungewear from Cozy Earth. I love it so much. It is changing from the time I get home, circa like 5:30, 6 o'clock, I get that stuff on and I have it on till the next morning, and it has changed my whole routine. It's amazing. I love that it like never peels. I've had some of these sets I've had multiple sets, but I've had them for, a year plus and they still don't peel. Their color fast is amazing. And they really have made me so much more relaxed. Especially with the stresses of home. I have 3 little boys. There's a lot going on.
I also have to say, like, you look incredibly chic in them because they drape.
It's true.
Right?
I don't feel frumpy.
It feels like a dressy sweat. The way it sort of drapes off your body, it looks more expensive than just like the average sweats.
No, I feel so much cuter in that than just like a normal cotton sweat set.
Yeah.
Like as far as like
Let's just call it luxury loungewear.
luxury loungewear.
Right?
Luxury loungewear made from viscose from bamboo.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. The
It's so
drape,
good.
the hand, it's so soft. Yeah. I'm a huge fan too. Also love that luxury sweatsuit, and I feel cuter in that than anything else. Luxury shouldn't be out of reach. Visit cozyearth.com and use my exclusive code Dear Alice for up to 40% off Cozy Earth's best-selling sheets, towels, pajamas, that great lounge set we've been
Amazing.
talking about. Trust me, you won't regret it. That's cozyearth.com, code Dear Alice. And if you get a post-purchase survey, tell them you heard about Cozy Earth from Dear Alice. Sanctuary awaits at Cozy Earth. This is a quote from Martha Stewart, not from her herself, but from her magazine. Yeah, they're saying 2025 is the year of the statement kitchen tiles. Interior designers are now leaning into bold textures, earthy hues, and artisanal details, turning every surface into a conversation piece. These trends fit right in with the movement toward more inviting, personality-filled interiors. Kitchens are becoming more expressive, and the right tile choice can add dimension and interest without feeling overpowering.
Amen.
Yep.
Amen.
Yeah.
I love that so much.
So good.
Okay, so as we're going to show you a couple of, again, spaces that we've designed that we have used tile in on the Backsplash. Actually, Jess,
Yeah.
let's start us off.
You guys remember Tiger Oak? We've referenced this project quite a few times. This was a parade home we did in 2018. So this home was built to look like an older home, all the charm of an older home. And one of the most beautiful tile installations I've seen in all of our years at Alice Lane. You can see that backsplash wall is entirely tile. Tiles surrounding the windows, all the way from the countertop to the ceiling. Hood's made out of tile. And there's these beautiful brass liners making this really pretty rhythm. You can really see it on this. So you can see that tile backsplash surrounds and goes to the ceiling on all the walls.
I think one thing to note when these were being drawn up, when you were looking at backsplashes, and like you can look at most like materials and say it comes in a 4x4, then it also comes in a 3x6, and it comes in all these different sizes. I think that those ones are the best ones to use because it does give you flexibility in the rhythm and the patterns that you can create with your tiles. So if you are super old school and vintage and you just want to do a 4x4, awesome. There's so many great ones that we will reference here. But if you like this idea of like really like you have a whole wall, not just from the countertop to the top, to the bottom of your hood, but you can like go up the whole wall. In Tiger Oak's case, we went over the whole hood. But when you have varying dimensions of tile that you can access for that installation, like I just think, the world is your oyster, and you can do so many cool, I think, bands and rhythms and things to break it up and make it more interesting.
Yeah, totally.
So,
this is a little pantry that we did. We're putting an image on the screen right now. This is color drenched in this really, really great dark green color. And the whole back wall, countertop, all the way up to, would you say 12 feet, 10-foot ceilings?
They're like 10-6, yeah.
Yeah, are all clad in this great, just 4x4 Zellage green marble or green tile, handmade tiles.
Zellage, Zellage, tomato. I don't know how, like, there's so many different, it's that Moroccan tile. And I remember when you first brought it to the scene, and it was like, it was from, I can't remember, and it was like a black one. This was like back when we were in Orem days, like so long ago. So it's something that
we
we've
used it
loved
on our backsplash
for
here
a long time. And since then, dowel tile, and like most Bedrosians, everyone has a line that they have this tile, and it's usually in the 4x4, and it has that kind of undulation. I have it in both bathrooms that I just recently did, and the colors are just so much fun because you really can springboard your whole idea from these tiles. So I would go tile shopping, slab shopping first before you select anything else in your kitchen, because that's going to be the players. And and honestly, I just think it's so great. Yeah.
I was just gonna say the other thing I love about that tile too is there's like from tile to tile. There's like depth in the color, and the color changes just slightly. So
yeah, and I'm so glad you said that, because with like the original types of these Moroccan tiles, you would get that natural pooling and undulation, and like glazes would like feel differently on each one. So you get lights to darks. In some of these more mass-produced ones, you do have to be careful when you're talking to your tile layer to make it random, because we have had installations like out of state where they've sent us a picture and they're like, they made it a checkerboard. They did light, dark, light, dark, light, dark. And it doesn't feel as natural or beautiful as I think it is when they do it random. So be cautious with that.
So I have the pink one in my bathroom, when I was talking to the tile layer who did that, who also did our backsplash here at the showroom, Oscar.
Who did my bathroom.
He's a great guy. Oh, really?
Oscar is.
Oh,
yeah,
sick.
he's amazing.
He's awesome. He was saying when you're tiling with that tile, you want to open multiple boxes and pull from different boxes, because then you're like getting from different batches most likely. And so it's not going to all be the same rhythm. It's going to look, it'll look more random.
So good.
Which is also great because you're also, when you're like picking out your cabinet color and all those things, have several samples, because you want the dark and the light to try and figure out what that final color of cabinet's going to be.
True.
Because we just ran into that where the client thought it was just going to be like the lighter one, but there is a lot more depth, and so more samples were sent, and so then she could have a real view of what this installation will look like. And you are going to get deep ochres and light sands and all the different colors, which is why it's so beautiful when you get that. But
yeah, so you were talking about the different shapes and making rhythms with tiles. I just wanted to hold up this elevation and you can tell them about this project. So we don't have this project shot yet because this is currently under design, but I wanted to share with you some of the tile installation work that's being done on these now that we're not using slabs as backsplashes.
Well, and slabs, that's interesting because like whether you kind of know, I think this is where the individuality goes. Some people will always be a slab backsplash. They like love the look. They love the majesty. I think it's a really big impact. And some people are a tile. You don't have to be a tile if you're listening to this, but for this case, we did tile in the pantry or the accessory kitchen because it does feel more culinary, I think. I think there's something that just feels more French, like bistro about, that even just like a white artisanal Subway. I think it's so beautiful. So in this kitchen, you can see like this is a straight shot from the kitchen. So we did do, just to relate to the slab that's happening in their kitchen, and then we introduced these different size tiles to create these bandings. And again, you can imagine, just like in architecture, that it's like the real deal when it's not the exact same stack going all the way up, just at the very same like level. The 3x6 is like for brick, for example, on exterior buildings, they would turn them for stability. And it adds to the authenticity. And this is the same thing, I think, for the look and interest on your backsplashes, when you can change that and you're doing a straight lay and then you're going to turn them vertical to create a soldier stack. And you start to create these bands and bracelets happening in the kitchen that line up with, where the hood height is and where the windows hit. And I think Tiger Oak is a real good example of that for, like, if you're studying tile layouts, look at where the window heights are. Look at where the tile lands there, and we're elevating all that, and it's all very purposeful. And that's a consideration that should and can be done when you're designing a kitchen. So, and I think that it makes it so much more interesting than just going like straight, 3x6 laid horizontally, brick laid from the countertop to the ceiling. Like change it up.
Yeah.
Give us something.
Interior designers out there, I mean, you can picture doing this work, right? Like you've got your kitchen elevated, and now you're going to start to find those common lines to be able to play with rhythms. Because in the past, we just sort of elevated and put a few veins in CAD, and we're like, oh, this is just going to be slab. So now this is honing in this new skill of creating rhythm and playing with shapes and patterns and colors. And it's going to call on this new side of your brain that maybe you haven't had to access in a decade. It's kind of fun.
Jess, we've been getting a ton of questions on who makes your glasses.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Everyone wants to know.
You guys, I'm at this age now where my near vision is leaving me. You're not quite as old as I am yet, but Sue, you're experiencing this.
40 hit, and like,
yeah,
I needed my glasses before, but I really, really need them now.
Yeah. Between 40 and 45, that cell phone type gets really tiny. So I was in search for the perfect pair of readers, and I tried Look Optic. And I have to say, I've loved them so much that I've actually began working with them a little bit as an advisor. And my dad's an eye doctor. My brother-in-law is. I really, really love eyewear. And it's been really fun to be back in the game. And I love the readers. I love the fashion frames. It's not a pair of frames that looks like I'm wearing something made for men. You know those readers when you go to Walgreens or when you go to the grocery store or somewhere and they're just like a 3-pack and they all look like they were made for men. Look Optic actually has really cute frames that are made for women.
Especially for, again, those ones that look like men's, they look like a giant man on my little head.
Yes, Suzanne has a child-size head, and they actually have minis at Look Optic. The Diane Keaton collection. I gave you all my Diane Keaton ones.
I love the Diane Keaton collection. They fit my head great. They're comfortable.
Yeah.
They have the cutest colors. Like some of them are matte. They have the bone ones. I love them so much.
Yeah, they're cute. And one of my little like fast passes that I want to tell everybody is that if you do the progressive lens, it's clear up top. You just get magnification in the bottom where you need it, because that's how you're looking at a cell phone or you're reading paper down here or you're on your laptop. You don't need magnification out the top because that's going to make your eyeballs look huge.
Yeah.
And then you really look like you're wearing a reader. So we're trying to like keep this low profile. And so I always go with the progressive. My favorite styles, I really love the Laurel. And they have this cool one that's like the Muse. It kind of looks like a 70s update. It's cool. They have one with a pink lens too. In fact, my daughter's still that one from me. It's great. Anyway, you guys can discover your own styles, but I will say Look Optic has been such a gateway for me as I've needed to jump into that reader category.
Right now, you can receive some free glasses from Look Optic. All you have to do is text Alice to 21252. That is text Alice, ALICE, to the number 21252. The first 20 new customers will get a free pair of readers. And if you're an existing customer, we also have an amazing discount for you. If you go to lookoptic.com, you can use the code ALICE15 for 15% off. Designers got to design. We said this like in a color episode too, that I'm just like, you really have to like be good with color. You have to know color because you're not calling it out with just like white everywhere. You have to be good, as far as with rhythms and finding interesting patterns. And it's really fun creatively to, I think, flex that part of the muscle. So anyway, so I'm here for it. And I think it's so much more interesting and again, so much more personalized to the client.
And if Sue Hall were a kitchen, she'd for sure be a tiled backsplash.
100%.
Yeah.
Like
sure.
no doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a fun question to ask yourself. Go around the kitchen table at a party and say,
go around your design firm.
What's your backsplash?
Ask your
What's your
girlfriend.
backsplash soulmate? That's a really great question to ask yourself.
Sue Hall, what's your backsplash soulmate?
Man, I don't want to like pin myself down, but it's going to be something really rad.
Are you a stone? Are you a Zellage tile? Like what?
I'm a tile. I'm a tile in different, because I'm a tile hood too.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a tile hood. I'll be tile. Cool. I'll be tile around the windows and just the whole thing. I think just the backdrop that it creates to like the stuff that Tom's cooking.
Yeah.
Or now Nolan. I just think the universal like tone of it. And I love a color drench, you know that. So my cabinets will probably be some form of that color too.
Yeah.
And the countertop will get along with it.
I do love a tiled windowsill or a marble windowsill,
so
right?
good.
And then you've tiled around it.
Yeah, with all your herbs and stuff just growing there, just like baking in the sun. I love it so much.
So good.
So you know who you are.
Yep. I do have a question on the just creating a rhythm. If people want to get that done, I mean, obviously not everyone has CAD to like throw that in. What's the best way? I mean, I totally agree. It adds so much interest and like dynamic to your backsplash, I think. But honestly, it's really hard, especially because I think some people are like, oh, just create a rhythm. But it's like, how is that rhythm going to react with like the height of your window or like, where that is quarter turned? Is it going to be too tall for, is it going to get cut off at this windowsill or something like that? So what's the best way to do that?
I think if you don't have CAD and you're not working with a designer, but you want to do something interesting, it's likely that you have a basket of great images and things of like, these are rhythms that I like, and this is the look that I'm going for. Then cue a great tile installer, or your builder that you trust impeccably if you're a new build. And you're going to bring those people in. You can do the whole thing on graph paper and whatnot. And you can look at the shop drawings. If you're a new build and you're building cabinetry, look at the shop drawings because then you understand at least heights from your countertop to the bottom of your upper cabinets.
Which that dimension is?
18-ish?
It's usually 18. We've been doing it 20 if you want like a cheat sheet. I like it at 20.
You could also put tape on the ground 20 inches high, right?
Oh, yeah.
Get a box of tiles.
Lay them out.
Lay them out on the ground. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could take the physical challenge. You could do the graph paper challenge. I do think Suze's point to, if you're just using a cabinet shop and they've got the elevations, then maybe you make lots of those photocopies and then you start doodling in there, knowing kind of the scale that is you're working with 18 inches and that you're working with subways and squares and you're creating a rhythm. And then you could go get a box of things and work it out on the ground. And those concept photos are really going to come in handy.
They're going to come in clutch.
One of the questions that is on here, or one of the points to make, is about grout. Oh, yeah. So when they are playing around with those rhythms, we're really tight together.
I like a tight grout.
Yeah, totally. And then are you matching the grout to the tile, or are you just doing like a nice neutral, sort of that dark taupe color that we love?
I use warm gray for a majority of things. It's from Mapei or Mapei. Mapei is the grout that I use majority of the time. And I use warm gray just because it kind of just feels like the color of like natural concrete or something like that. It just has, I don't know, just some earth
like
to it.
Mortar you'd use between stones. It's just natural.
If I'm like doing a light marble or something, or you're white, you might be frost if you're brighter. And that's also from Mapei, whatever.
Mapei,
yeah, I would say frost, warm gray is what I use majority of the time for, especially for color tile. If you don't, because even with dark, like say I had a really dark tile like this guy, which I'm holding up a black Zellage one, that this is probably what we do have in the kitchen. Anyway, these are going to be so tight, and so you're really going to barely feel that reveal, but I want to feel the difference. Even though it's slim and slight, I want to feel the difference, so I wouldn't put a black grout here. Because I want to feel when one tile starts and one tile ends.
Great advice.
Yes.
I love it. This is an example, those of you tuning in, of a tiled hood. This is Sue Hall, if you were a kitchen, only you wouldn't be white.
I probably would be colored.
Yeah, but we've got, this is 4x4s.
Yeah, it looks like a square, which I will say that 4x4, I love a square.
Fours. Yeah, that's cute.
Yeah, it's really, really cute. 4x4 just feels like the most, I think, old school, you know, not necessarily rectangle, but the 4x4, just like, it feels almost basic. Even when we were doing like the boys' bathrooms, I'm like, what would be like true to a 1970s home? I'm like, they would use a square tile, you know, because that's what would have been available, but we're going to like amp it up because that's who I am.
Yeah.
So the 4x4s are really cool.
Do you
offset?
Yeah. Do you
really
like the offset?
I
think it's really cute.
I do too.
Yeah. I know we historically see it like stacked, and that's what I did in the boys' bath. But I do like the offset, or like the little zipper lay that just like feels like barely, not completely like that. But
yeah, I actually
love a zipper lay.
I love that just because it's like it feels historic, like it was
like they're not all the same size, so we had to like zipper lay it.
Exactly.
Anyway,
so I think
be
that's
creative.
Really cool.
That's so fun. This is another example. This is like,
I can't remember if it was from like Elle Decor or like one of those articles. But it's like this, I love Brutalist. So this is like a Brutalist like pattern tile, which they're coming out with more of them, and I'm super jazzed about it. I could be one of these. I could do this.
Yeah,
100%.
for sure.
Like a
tacos would taste so good in here.
Amazing. Like where are we? Highland, Utah, or
Tom,
Mexico?
Tom makes the greatest tacos in the world.
Yeah. No one should do that as a business. Anyway. So
add to the list.
Yeah, but just that textured like art installation on the back
dimensional
of your, like,
tile.
Backsplash.
Yeah.
I love it so much. And you know what? I like that they even like broke it. You know, like they didn't take it all the way up. They're like, you know, this is a good thing, and I'm not going to like overwhelm the looker, you know, the viewer. So I like the where they broke it. And I think those shelves are also a really, really fun trick to do as you're exploring your backsplash. You know,
so
behind your range, or if you're going all the way up.
If you're going to create a shelf, let's say your budget can't take you all the way to the ceiling and you want to create a shelf, at what height are you doing that? And what lines in your kitchen do you need to like look for to make sure you're putting it at the right height?
This is a great question. Okay. So just so you know, like when you go into a builder grade home, they're just going to do 4 inches on most things, and it looks super basic, and you're not going to do that, of course. At very minimum on any backsplash or bathrooms, anything, I'm at 6 to 8 inches.
Of depth.
Usually,
I'm
talking about just like height
above the countertop.
I'm just saying, this is going up a lot higher, but I'm just saying at the very minimum, like for like bathrooms and things in a kitchen, you're again from like countertop to the bottom of your cabinets or upper cabinets is like standard of 18. I like to go 20. And so around there is where I'm going to probably draw a consistent line going over my range. Like and usually behind the range, just for dimension wise, from your range to the hood, like you have a minimum, you have to do 30 inches. Like 24 to 30 inches is what Google's going to tell you, depending on the like size of your range. If you're a 48 or a 60 inch, you can you'll have a more powerful vent. And so you could get up to 36, which is majority of what we're drawing.
So what she's saying is
36 inch height.
Yeah. So off the top of your range, 36 inches to the bottom of your hood. So that's going to be the size of your backsplash. It's 36 inches high underneath there. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, no, which I would say like in that whole cavity, I would suggest just always tiling the whole thing, but you can do a shelf there. It's when you get to like the perimeter cabinets where you don't have like a grease and things like flipping up from the actual, oven or stovetop, that's when you're going to do a shelf like what was shown in that brutalist tile movement. But for the actual depth, like if you are above a range, this will depend on if you have a pot filler. If you have a pot filler, that gets trickier as far as where that shelf can hit. Jess, you have a shelf you wish that it was deeper.
I have a 4-inch ledge in the middle of 2/3 of the way up my backsplash above my stovetop where I line all my olive oils and vinegars and all of that stuff, salt and pepper shakers. And it's really beautiful. I always wanted it. I didn't go deep enough. I went 4 inches. And you're cantilevering. I mean, I did a slab backsplash, so I had to cantilever a piece of slab out. So I didn't know engineering wise how far out I could go. So I chickened out and just did 4 inches. Should have done 6 or 7.
Just so you can kind of fit
get an overlap on the bottles and do a little better job of display, because those things are all in use, but you also want it to look really artisan. Mine all have to stand like soldiers, shoulder to shoulder, all my bottles with very little depth change, and that's a little bit of a bummer. Still glad I have it. So utilitarian. I use it every day. It's great.
Yeah, and that depth will just depend on just like how far your range, like how much, I don't know. That's just something you'll want to work out with your contractor, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, but yeah, I love that. And to answer your question, probably about that 18 inches, I think is like a good height.
If you want to pull something like this off,
that's probably like your minimum.
18 to 20. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's really beautiful. But you will pay attention to like where windows are, where grids of windows are. Like there's some common lines and things that I think can be like paid attention to make it look really smart where you place that shelf.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, cool. That's good. Another little trend that you're seeing percolate up to the top that we'd be remiss if we didn't mention, since we're talking about backsplashes, is
guys, there's mural tiles.
The tile mural
on a mural tile. Tiled murals. Yeah,
that's rad.
It's so beautiful, especially for like these large, expansive spaces. And like when I first pulled this up, just it's like, oh, it feels like that kind of Delft blue, but reinvented. Right. So if you are the Delft blue person, like this is a really fun thing that you should look into. It's just kind of a more modern interpretation of it. I'm just going to pull up some other ones.
This is the Delft blue. I'm seeing this really come back. It's so like 80s, right?
It feels really weird to me because that's where it lives in my mind is in the 80s. So when I see it, I'm like, guys, I don't know how to feel about it.
It's historic and European though.
Yeah.
But let me just say this. I have bad news for all of us at this table. We are getting older. And we know that
Shut your mouth, Jessica.
Because when we see things like this come around, we're like, oh, I was alive when that happened. And we have this sort of trigger in my memory. I often, the first time I was old enough to realize this was when plaid was a really big thing when I was like in middle school. And my mom was like, I will never wear plaid again. I wore that in high school. And I was like, who cares? Like, wear it again. Be cool, right? And now I'm at that age where I'm like, I will never. And this feels like our 80s, 90s kitchen with the big grout lines. Totally European. So beautiful. If you didn't live this life once before,
you should
go for it. You're going to have no weird ghosts about the whole idea of it, but totally get it. Yeah, this was our 80s and 90s kitchen.
I would say like thinner.
Warm up the grout.
Yeah, thinner grout lines.
Yeah.
Like there's just ways to modernize it to like not live in the mistakes of the past, I think.
Oh, I completely agree. And a lot of these are from a line called Country Floors. That's called that. But they have a lot of really darling ones if this is your style. We're doing this like party barn at a client's home and like it feels like it should have this. And like when I think of her, I'm like, this is her with like a fabric curtain underneath the sink and like you know who you are.
So cute.
Cool.
You know who you are.
That's awesome.
Those of you that aren't watching, I'm just holding up some Delft tiles, some white 4x4, 6x6, or 8x8 tiles that have blue flowers painted them, little corner details. Anyway, really sweet, very European. Yeah.
It's so pretty.
Cute.
And you can make a lot of
country
different
floors.
patterns depending on how you stack them too. So which is a fun
That
fun
is
trick.
so
Really cool.
fun. So great. Any other details that we should point out about tile backsplashes that you guys are doing and in any of the up and coming work?
Up and coming work. I think just like be fun with it.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think like, again, we said it before, you know who you are. If you're a tiled backsplash, go start to research and see, like start grabbing samples and like live with them and like look at them again. And I remember when I did that, even just for the most recent remodel of the bathrooms, I'm like, what green am I? I think you were shocked when you saw the green that I thought you thought I was going to go darker green. And I think I had a couple people be like, I'm surprised you went with that mint. And I was just like, I know, I just sat with it for a long time and it was the right thing for the house.
Yeah.
Like it's what it needed to be.
It's actually perfect. I'm so glad it's not darker because it's a tiny little space, but I feel like the light can come in and bounce around off the surface of those tiles. And it feels fresh like morning, but deep and sophisticated because of your cabinetry choice.
Yeah. And it's dark enough to be interesting.
It's so you. Yeah, it's perfect. It's so perfect. And I can't even imagine what it's like taking a shower in that
It's
space.
really
Yeah, it's got to be so good.
Yep.
Guys, tile, it's back. I can't wait for you. And if you're going countertop shopping, definitely keep that in mind that you could go tile and go a little bit bolder than what you think. I don't think you're going to regret it. It will just look more exotic, more European, more you, personality packed. That's what we're doing in kitchens today. Yeah. Thanks so much for tuning in, you guys. I was going to tell you we have a free design service available here at Alice Lane Home. It's called Home Furnishing Design, and our designers are available to help you find new furniture, get that perfect rug. We can custom size almost anything, change colors. You can just reach out to them on our website at alicelanehome.com and then visit that design services tab, and they can help you put together just a room full of beautiful furnishings, whatever project you want to work on this year. They can pop those in AutoCAD and really design you down to the inch. It's going to be foolproof, and they can make it totally you. So
you can check off your summer bucket list. Finishing that project
Yes.
before the holidays happen, guys.
Definitely. If you guys have any episode ideas that you want us to talk about, just send those to Dear Alice at alicelanehome.com. We'll catch you next time. Hey, thanks for listening. If you like our show, please leave a 5-star rating.